See, if the parents just would have used Google Maps, they wouldn't have gotten lost, and none of this would have happened. I'm John Wright, and with the retro review of Spirited Away from 2001, written and directed by the iconic Hayao Miyazaki, one of the best directors of his time, and perhaps of all time, creating so many memorable anime movies such as these three. Yes, The Wind Rises, Howl's Moving Castle, as well as Princess Mononoke. In all honesty, Princess Mononoke is my favorite of these three, and I like it even more than Spirited Away, though Spirited Away, absolutely iconic. So many memorable, very, very scary images. In fact, I'm actually convinced this would scare some small children. No Face and, the witch and all the other weird stuff. And man, is Miyazaki okay? I mean, honestly, is he? Because the man's nuts. I mean, he's tremendous as a director, but he's goddamn nuts. By the way, I did recently retro review Princess Mononoke. Please check that out. So if you're unfamiliar with Spirited Away, we have a 10-year-old girl named Chihiro who ends up going into like a podunk area with her parents to move for, I assume the dad has a nice job somewhere. They just dive into the goddamn crazy spiritual nuttiness of this whole frickin' production, and we don't really get that much information. But Chihiro is a little bit of an upset 10-year-old girl. She doesn't want to be uprooted from her life. Her parents get the idea to investigate this tunnel. They find this abandoned series of restaurants and whatever. It's almost like a theme park because the reference to the economy going bust in Japan is brought up, so places like this were abandoned. But then the parents end up eating and gorging at the one restaurant that just happens to have food, and then things go absolutely south. And Chihiro must basically solve this mystery before all their lives are history. Spirited Away tales, woohoo! So, if you have Max, this does have the original Japanese audio track, as it does with the other Studio Ghibli movies. And you do. I'm gonna name the American cast because, to be quite honest, if I tried to pronounce any of the names of the Japanese cast, I would screw it up. DeBay Chase plays Chihiro. That was a little girl from The Ring, and also apparently has not done very well for herself since. You have Suzanne Pleshette, who's great in The Birds, by the way. Jason Marsden. You have Susan Egan. You have David Ogden Stiers, which that's just a really hard name to say. You do have Laura Hawley, and you also have Michael Chiklis and Tara Strong, who's tremendous as a voice actress and really, really deserves every role that she gets. So, yes, it's a little bit crazy. It's a little bit insane. It's also about appreciating your parents, finding your way back home, and really not pissing off the wrong spirit. I mean, it's absolutely insane. There's not really a lot I can go into without getting into spoilers, but the movie has been out for 23 years, and a lot of people honestly know the story of Spirited Away. I have not watched it in a number of years, so I kind of watched it with fresh eyes. Remembered, oh yeah, Miyazaki's absolutely insane. The movie did have a $19 million budget, which would be $33.8 million in today's money. A $450,000 opening that would elevate a bit because Miyazaki's films had gained more of a footing at this, or would gain more of a footing after this point. He did do The Boy and the Heron. That's his most recent production, which I really enjoyed. That $450K, by the way, would be just over $800,000 in today's money, and then $15.2 million U.S. gross. So, okay, not exactly a goddamn great, U.S. gross. I mean, but that would be $27 million in today's money. But the thing is, the movie made $358.1 million worldwide. Now, whether that was just initially or with re-releases, who knows? Still, that's pretty goddamn good. Now, if we take the totality of that in today's money, that would be $638 million. So, yeah, Miyazaki would continue to get attention, projects, because he produced results. Even if the U.S. audiences wouldn't always go to the theaters to check out his shit. So, watch it with the original Japanese audio track if you can. I mean, yes, if you have to catch the dubbed versions. I am, by the way, going to check out another anime movie that I know nothing about beyond the fact that it looks a little Studio Ghibli-like without actually being that. Ghost Cat Anzu, I think is how it's said. I know nothing about it beyond seeing a few stills, so I'm excited. So, yeah, they basically are driving. They go up this hill. And there are these abandoned houses, like these, little houses of the spirits. There's these weird statues. There's a statue that Dad almost runs into, this tunnel. They go in, and they end up gorging on some food at this restaurant, and then basically get locked into the spirit world. They turn into pigs. Really kind of scary. Not as scary as turning into the donkey in Pinocchio. I don't know why that haunted me so much as a kid, and still now. To the point I don't think I can actually retro-view the original Pinocchio. But basically there is a young boy named Haku. Not King Tonga, not Ming, not him. He probably could handle everybody in the goddamn spirit world now, and once he unfortunately leaves this mortal realm to, do what he does. But it's a young boy named Haku that seems to have, some strange powers. And it turns out he is actually doing the bidding because he's an apprentice of this crazy witch. The witch with the weird wart and the giant nose and everything. Kind of looked like if, Paul Heyman was, I don't know, like a different gender. Yubaba, which is really an insane, just insane visuals. Absolutely insane visuals. She's got a kid, a giant baby, a really giant baby. It's like the cake of being sumo. And also there's the character of No Face, that Wemby from the NBA, I can't pronounce his last name, the 7'5" insane Frenchman, where what do? You get the fuck out of the way and you don't bother to try to guard him. The white mask and the weird black cloak and all that also likes to eat people, because when you have no face, you want to eat people, I guess. Again, Miyazaki, absolutely insane. So, they basically, Chihiro must, take on a new name, Sen, and Yubaba basically keeps some, people's names to keep them locked in because of the spell and all this stuff, and the spirit world apparently needs money. I don't know why, because they're all dead, but whatever, it's fine. So, yeah, once the nighttime hits, water comes in, and they're basically trapped. So you can't get back to the real world where it's still hassling Rob Thomas. You cannot get back to wherever you came from. You must get back to your own time like your Samurai Jack. I did like just how, Chihiro was honestly a scared 10-year-old girl, understandably, and that at least was a nice thing. That at least was a nice thing about it. There was a sense of realism, like, yeah, you're in a fucked up place. You're going to be a scared kid, but she does overcome that with some strength and the power of positivity and friendship and love, because she falls for Haku, or Haku. That's it. I'm sorry, but I'm just the wrestling fan in me just is like thinking that just sounds so funny. So, there's a weird spire creature that has a mustache straight out of the Dr. Wily playbook, Kamaji. And he has little dust pellets, like soot pellets, that carry coal to heat up the baths, because it's a giant bathhouse. It is the second most disgusting bathhouse I have seen on film. You don't want to know about the first. You honestly don't. I can't purge it from my goddamn mind. But she needs to get to work, basically, because you can be a human, I guess, in this world, even though you're supposed to stink, but then if you eat their food for a bit, you will be totally fine. She needs to eat food or she will disappear. They abandoned that pretty quickly, actually, to be perfectly honest. I think they reference that one other time, but she's locked here. Her parents are turned to pigs. She needs to find a way to break the spell. The giant creature, the white creature with the weird, front thong that had the weird hat, like a gold, shogun hat, that I said had the tits hanging off of its goddamn cheeks. I don't know why that made me laugh so much. So, yes, basically, she must work for the witch. She must find a way to get her parents and herself back to her own time. But what basically sets us apart from anything that would be just strange is the fact that it has incredibly great visuals, because Miyazaki's involved. Obviously, how in the world could you not appreciate what this man does? Again, I still think Princess Mononoke is better. This is more nutty, because that's almost a little bit too on the nose with its political messaging and stuff like that, which, again, I think lends more realism to it. They're two different movies while also having a few similar themes. So Lin is, kind of the main helper of this whole thing, but she gets locked into doing a lot of dirty tasks, clean these old baths. Oh, we need to clean this big old bath with a bunch of grass and a bunch of other stuff. So this one guest can come in because there's this weird giant stink creature that comes in, the stink blob. It's just a giant blob that comes in. Meanwhile, No Face is also there, staying on the bridge, sees her, and No Face gets invited in as a customer eventually, which leads to horrific results for at least a few people. And also Slippy the Toad, as I call him. I mean, I know he's not Slippy, but I wanted to meet the same fate as Slippy. You know what character I'm talking about. And Haku is Yubaba's apprentice, wants to learn, knows magic and everything, but it turns out there's a little bit of a twist, like a nipple twist, a little bit later on. So, yeah, basically, work is tough. Kamaji basically kind of takes a liking to Chihiro because he sees that she actually means well. I did like the weird dust creatures didn't want to carry these rocks when she tried to help. So then they all pretend to be crushed and he's like, no, do you want to be turned back into soot? All this craziness going on. And then they clean off the stink off this creature where they pull something out and there's all this junk, all this crazy junk going on. And then, well, geez, what the hell's going on? And suddenly there's this old man water dragon. I thought it was like Dhalsim or whatever. Yeah, I'm just going to reference weird shit from video games, whatnot. Guardian of the Great River. Oh, Japan. Oh, Japan. But now they're all surrounded by water. They can't get anywhere. And they got to clean all this stuff up. And a No Face suddenly shows up and is like, I'm starving. I just want to eat this all. I want to eat this all, including you. And he's offering gold. Then he eats somebody because why not? She refuses his gold because she's like, no, I just want my parents, because her parents are locked in a fucking pig pen because why not? And then basically this dragon shows back up, but the dragon's all bloody. It turns out that Haku is this dragon. Haku also was poisoned and visited the twin sister of Yubaba. Zeniba, I believe is the name. I'm sorry if I'm screwing up these names, by the way. Like, if I'm screwing up the pronunciation, I'm American, and also clearly, based on the recent election results, I am one of the few smart ones. That says a lot about the other voters. So, nevertheless, I'm going to throw that little jab in every single time I can for the next 4+ years because I want to. I did like the giant baby kind of having a heart of gold for no reason because, again, oh, Japan. But then there's this weird paper creature. These paper creatures that were like seemingly attacking the dragon, rushing at him, making him bloody. And one of the paper dragons, or one of the paper creatures, was actually Zeniba. And there were these weird 3 green heads that got turned into the giant baby. So Yubaba would be confused. The 3 heads got turned into that. The baby got turned into a mouse. And then there was another thing that got turned into a bird. Again, the movie's just very visually strange. So basically, the idea is he stole something from me, the twin sister says. You need to get it back. So he had a Pez dispenser in him. It actually was a weird scroll thing, but it just made me laugh. I don't know why it made me laugh, but it just did. So, nevertheless, basically, the idea is now she wants to go save him. But first, No Face is still there and wants Sen. That's her name. That's the name she had to assume. And not forget her own name, or otherwise she wouldn't be able to get back. And also, she needs to remember stuff because Haku had referenced that you knew me from long ago. So, eventually she basically breaks down No Face. Because earlier she gave a little bit of medicine to Haku that cured him, turned him out of this dragon form, this evil dragon form, and he spit up this weird creature thing that was like this. It was like the little DNA thing from Jurassic Park, only slimier. And then she feeds the rest of the medicine to No Face. It kind of turns him back to, I guess, normal. He spits up the people that are still alive, including Slippy the Toad. And then she takes a train, thanks to basically Kamaji giving her a bunch of train tickets, and No Face goes with him, including the mouse and a little crow bug thing. So yeah, they end up getting to the twins' house. The twin is like wondering how you're here. Oh, you made it here, because they met before, and Chihiro basically apologizes. Well, you know what? All is forgiven. No Face is going to stay there to help her, and she's got to break the spell, basically, because they're two halves of a whole, the twin sisters. Both have evil parts to them, but Yubaba obviously is the more evil one, because Haku is doing the bidding of her. They have too many pronouns, pal. Sorry, Vince. So, nevertheless, she basically gets back there and is talking to Yubaba, trying to get the spell broken. Look at these pigs. You tell me which ones are your parents, and I'll let you go. She's got the contract. I can't do that. My parents aren't here. And the contract vanishes. Well, God damn it. Now you can go, I guess. Well, that was easier than usual. But she does end up, before this, breaking the spell on Haku, remembering his name. Well, he's a dragon floating in the air, and then they float down and somehow are okay. Probably should have waited to break the goddamn spell until maybe you were not 10,000 feet in the air. But what do I know? And the baby gets turned back to normal, which was actually kind of funny. The baby basically just says, let him go, or I won't like you anymore, because why not? And then she, Haku basically says, go back. Don't look back. And she meets her parents. They go off, and that's it. That is it for Spirited Away. It's nuts. It's insane. It's also beautifully told and great visuals and everything. It's a lot of really touching stuff. Strangely touching. I think that, again, Miyazaki was probably on... If he wasn't on drugs, and I don't know if he's ever done drugs, he has to be insane. And I mean insane in the nicest way. Obviously, the movie's tremendous and gets an A+, because it's Spirited Away and it's Miyazaki. Nevertheless, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Rickland. I'll see you soon.